What now after 3 former Memphis police officers were found guilty on some charges and not others for their role in violating Tyre Nichols' civil rights?
All 5 officers involved in the beating death are now convicted felons, either because jurors found them guilty or they made a guilty plea. But the legal process is far from over. ABC 24's Scott Mattis is here with us looking ahead at what's next. Scott, good evening.
Good evening. It's been a long last several weeks. Right now, both the prosecution and defense are waiting for sentencing, of course, which will happen in January of next year, in just a few short months from now. And I discovered the state's case against the 5 former police officers will ultimately depend on what happens during that federal sentencing. Thursday evening, verdicts were handed down in the federal case against Darius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith. Bean and Smith were both found guilty of obstruction. Criminal defense attorney Claiborne Ferguson.
These aren't probably the most responsible officers of the 5. The 2 most responsible were the ones that pled out early on.
And Demetrius Haley was found guilty of deliberate indifference and deprivation of rights resulting in bodily injury. Haley was also found guilty of conspiracy to commit obstruction and obstruction. Haley being found guilty of the most charges.
He definitely got hit with more charges. However, the obstruction charge is the one that carries the most jail time.
So what's next? While there has not been a date set for the state trial against the 5 officers, Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy tells me the next step for his team will come after the federal sentencing of the defendants in January.
I believe that, there's a very good chance that we'll go forward with our prosecutions, and that'll either be a trial or a plea, and that's up to the defendants.
In the state case, the former officers are facing second-degree murder charges, in addition to aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression charges.
And we're waiting to see what the sentence is going to be. And if we're not satisfied that the sentence is significant enough, then that will definitely, factor into what we do. We are fully prepared to go forward with our state prosecution. We are not calling the state prosecution off. That state prosecution is continuing.
All right, a lot to unpack there. It's important to note defense attorney Claiborne Ferguson, who you just heard from, tells me today just because the defendants were not found guilty of some of the more severe charges in federal court, those charges, they can actually be used against them in sentencing. Now, sentencing is expected in January of 2025. Live in studio, I'm Scott Mattis. Richard.
All right, Scott, thank you.